The second signatory ever from Egypt. Could I ask Hany Salam to come to the stage with his proposer, King?
Ladies and gentlemen, Hany Salam was born in 1953 in Cairo and stands before you not only a distinguished philatelist but a successful industrialist in the textiles world. He collects Egypt and has had a great success with his maritime mail routes in the 19th century, postal history, but he also is a traditional philatelist. He has formed significant collections. He's contributed to the organisation of philately, being Secretary General of the Philatelic Society of Egypt, Vice President of the Philatelic Society of Egypt at the present. He's been an editor. He's worked with Youth Philatelist. He's been an executive member of all of the exhibitions held in Egypt in the last 11 years. He's a FEPA judge, an FIP judge in postal history, and not only a juror, he's been a commissioner, and he's lead organiser of an exhibition which I'm very much looking forward to in Monaco at the end of November this year. He's written articles and has a book coming out shortly, The Official Mail of Egypt, a study of a government courier service in Egypt, the slave trade from the sources of the Nile to Cairo. He's written on photographia printing. He's discovered unrecorded essays in the Egyptian Postal Museum, and again, in November, we're looking forward to his latest book. But one of his great contributions, in my opinion, is his research in the National Archives of Egypt. There are many archives around the world, many of them unresearched, and this is particularly important because of the endangered nature of the archive. He discovered the archive of the last sheikh of the slave trade and the organised postal service that underpinned that trade in Egypt in the 18th and 19th centuries. And this is not an easy archive because it was written in a dialect of Arabic, an old dialect of Arabic, which nobody speaks today. And Hany has made that available and visible in a way which it has never been before, and it's an archive which might have been lost. He's been through the commercial maritime archives in Egypt, and these are written in Ottoman Turkish, another language which has disappeared from before 1849. From 1849 to 54, the same archive appears in Ottoman Turkish and Arabic, and thereafter in French, and thereafter in Italian, and eventually in the 1880s in English. These are complex pieces of research, and Hany's contribution to research in philately and in history and in commercial history are very significant indeed, and he's to be congratulated on bringing these important sources to light. He's also worked with young people in Egypt and underprivileged communities and children, and helped them to understand the hobby which unites many of us here. Hany covers all of the expected areas of contribution to philately that a signatory of the Roll of Distinguished Philatelist should have done. He's truly a worthy candidate to sign the roll, and I'm very privileged and proud to present him to you as the latest signatory to the Roll in its 99th year. Thank you.